what do you got?
I think I can prove to a judge that both of these men had the mens rea.
What the hell is a mens rea?
It's a legal term the lawyers use. It just means the intention to commit a crime.
Okay, come on, let's go.
Mens rea?
Put the cuffs on him.
How could we have gotten mens rea? We take blood? Can you do it without taking blood? We both use condoms. How is this possible? I want to see a doctor. Can I have an independent blood test?
Hey, money!
I feel sick.
What are you doing?
Mens rea! Oh! Oh! My God! No!
Would you gentlemen care to order your dinners?
Bet, babe. Slide a piece of the porter. Drinks, I run the job.
Look at here. I can dig grease and trumpet on some butter and drag him through the garden.
Hey, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everybody. How are you? Who are you? What are you doing? Who are you doing it with? How many times are you going to do it? How good does it feel? Whatever your answer to that question is, I'm just glad you're here doing it with me, Legal Vices, because that's what we're up to tonight. We are updating our YNW Melly status hearing. Cheers to you. Oh, by the way, yeah. All right, we'll talk about it in a minute. Cheers to you guys for being here. Excuse me. All right. I'm tired. It's been a great day. It's a lovely Tuesday night here in dark, cold, wintry South Korea, but you all warm me up just by being here. You make it a little bit warmer. We haven't done a location check for a while, have we? It's been ages. We got 140 of you here now. Where are you all checking in from? We won't make a big deal about it. Just scroll up in there where you're checking in from, because it's been a while. We got a lot of new faces recently because of the Maya Kowalski stuff I've been covering. So if you're one of the new people here, we're dealing with the YNW Melly double murder retrial. I don't know if you're familiar with the case or not, but just in case you're not, we'll give you a little bit of a background on this. YNW Melly, rapper, he and one of his friends, YNW Bortlan, they are accused of murdering YNW Melly's two best childhood friends, YNW Juvie and YNW Sack Chaser. They went to trial. Well, Melly went to trial earlier this year. Bortlan still hasn't gone to trial. God knows when that's going to happen. YNW Melly went to trial earlier this year, and it resulted in a hung jury. So there was mistrial was declared. The jury was split 9-3 in favor of conviction. There was some I won't say shenanigans in the case. It was just the prosecution didn't do a really great job for most of the trial. But I thought at the end of the day, they'd done enough that if the jury came back with a verdict of guilty, I could have understood it. I wouldn't have had a problem with it. I also wasn't too extremely surprised that they came back a hung jury. The one thing that did surprise me was it was quick. It wasn't like they deliberated for days and days and couldn't come to a solution. It was a fairly quick mistrial declared. The general gist of it is that the motive still hasn't been established. The prosecution, and you don't need to establish motive in a murder. You just have to prove whether or not they did it. Doesn't matter why. But the prosecution has indicated that they intend to show that the motivation was money. That there was either Melly owed the two deceased people money or vice versa, or maybe a little mix of both. We've got Strawberry here on the floor next to me snoring. You can already, I don't know if you can hear her snoring yet, but if any heavy breathings, grunts, snores, whatever, the most of them are coming from Strawberry. my dog, not me. So they were apparently at a recording studio late one night, the group of them plus some other people. Everybody went off in two different vehicles. Melly, Bortlan, and the two victims went off in one Jeep. And Melly says that they were driving down the road and they were sitting somewhere for some reason doing something, and a drive-by shooting occurred. Somebody came up and shot the vehicle up, killing the two friends. Now, what the video shows, the last known video of everybody being together showed YNW Bortlan in the driver's seat, Melly in the seat behind the driver's seat, and the two victims in the front and rear passenger seat. Well, the Jeep had bullet holes all down the side where the two victims were sitting. All down the passenger side, there were bullet holes, as if the Jeep had been involved in a drive-by shooting. There were a couple of problems that this is where I think the tide turned to maybe possibly showing that Melly had done it. Because again, he was the last person seen in the rear passenger seat of the Jeep. The testimony from the state's witnesses was that the kill shots came from the rear passenger's seat. The rear driver's side seat. The two kill shots were apparently headshots on the passengers that came from the rear driver's side seat. And what the expert also testified was that the bullet holes on the side of the vehicle, tracing their trajectory and whatnot, indicate that the vehicle was stationary when it was shot up, and the shooter also was stationary when it was shot up. So they're saying Melly murdered his two friends that were in the passenger's front and rear side. He bails off somewhere else, and then they make it look like a drive-by shooting to cover up the fact that they were whacked from inside the vehicle. And Melly disappeared during all of this. He just vanished. His side says that he got out somewhere along the line, either to like relieve himself on the side of the road or whatever, but got in a different vehicle. And only Bortlan was in the vehicle when they drove it to the hospital. So that's kind of the background information. But the that sounds like a pretty slam dunk case. But when I put it in those terms, but there's a whole lot of other stuff that the prosecution was really, really squirrely about. They put on this one expert that testified about broken glass and how glass breaks for like 5 hours. They brought Dr. You're an Idiot on. He probably was. He wasn't even a doctor. I don't think he had a PhD or anything. He was this gun expert from the prosecution that, oh God, it took him just forever to explain how guns work. And just insanely long and drawn out and boring. And there were some fireworks though, because they put, Melly's, oh my gosh, I've just drawn a blank. The angry woman at the beginning, that was his girlfriend's mother. One of the first witnesses the state put on was Melly's girlfriend's mother. She did not want to be there. She did not want to testify. She said she was being intimidated. She was being threatened. She was being pushed. She was fearful, and so she didn't want to testify. But what she testified to, this is the prosecution's own witness. She testified that she was being threatened by the prosecutor's office. She was being threatened. She was being intimidated by the prosecutor's office. She was being pressured by the prosecutor's office with threats such as, if you don't testify for us, we will arrest you, we'll arrest your daughter, et cetera, et cetera. And she flat out in open court under oath testified that she was scared of the prosecutor and had been intimidated by them. Well, that was kind of the last thing the prosecutors were really expecting. There were some fireworks in court over that. And they had an ankle monitor on her because she was a flight risk and she had skipped a subpoena before. But what she's saying is she wasn't even at the place. She never got the subpoena, et cetera, et cetera. And they were using that as an intimidation factor where she's a witness, the mother of the girlfriend of the dead person, and she's got to show up to court with an ankle monitor on, et cetera, et cetera. She was unhappy. Now, the things progress. And it turns out, which we've been talking about for the past several weeks, that there may have been some shenanigans in the courtroom. Well, there may have been some shenanigans in the investigation because they had a shit case. They had an absolute garbage case because they were doing a terrible job presenting their evidence. They didn't have a lot of direct evidence. They had a lot of speculation. And then Detective Moretti, the lead detective Moretti, gets on the stand, and he was testifying to a lot of stuff. Well, it turns out, which again we've been talking about for the past few weeks, we won't get into it in depth because you can go back and check if you want. The lead detective was also investigating Melly's mother and some other people, as well as Melly and his co-defendant Bortlan, for witness tampering. They were saying that Melly and Bortlan were trying to prevent his girlfriend and his girlfriend's mother and others from testifying at the first trial. And as part of that investigation, he was supposed to execute a search warrant against YNW Melly's mother's cell phone. So they had her in for an interview, and he was out of his jurisdiction. And there's some questions of whether, as a matter of law, it was illegal for him to serve the search warrant without someone from the local jurisdiction, without a local law enforcement officer present. But it seems that it may have been legal. It may have been legal because there was a prosecutor in the room, and she had sent him an email, which we talked about last week. She'd sent him an email giving him some case law showing how it would be legal for him to do it and whatnot. But whether it was legal or not in and of itself, the problems began when it was time to file the affidavit. The dogs are here kicking the camera again under the desk. All right. The problem came when it was time to swear as to how this search warrant was executed. There was a local officer on hand, and Detective Moretti reportedly asked him to swear under oath if asked if he was in the room when it was served. And the person, Officer Gorell, reportedly said, "I was there if you needed me to be there." The prosecutor rats him out. The prosecutor that was there rats him out and says, "Hey, you've got a lead detective." That is soliciting another police officer to lie under oath to fabricate evidence and to hide the fact there may have been an illegal search and seizure on this. She told the lead prosecutor and her bosses, and they all seemed to do nothing. They sat on it. The lead detective, she buried it for a year. This happened well before the first trial. She didn't, and they had a duty to tell the defense lawyers what had happened. But they didn't. They didn't tell them before the trial, the first trial. They didn't tell them during the first trial. They didn't tell them after the first trial. And it only came to light when this prosecutor who ratted out the Detective Moretti realized that the evidence hadn't been turned over to the defense lawyer yet. So she went back and told her boss. They went through and said, "Holy shit!" And then they told the previous lead prosecutor, Bradley was her name. They told Bradley, "File that notice and tell the defense what we've got going here." She didn't do it. She still didn't tell the defense. Then this whole big thing blew up, and it eventually ended up with the prosecutor being booted from the case. The lead prosecutor, Bradley, she was kicked off the case because the defense was now going to call her as a witness during their case. The lead prosecutor in the first case has now become a defense witness. What they plan to do with her is, because Detective Moretti is the centerpiece to all of this. He was the lead investigator. He signed off on a large number of the affidavits for search warrants. And so the argument they're making is you cannot trust this guy because he solicited another police officer to falsify evidence, to commit perjury, to possibly assist in an illegal search and seizure. When they put him on the stand and start going through his testimony about all the evidence he found, all the things that happened, all the results of his investigation, the defense is going to put the previous prosecutor, the previous lead prosecutor during the first trial on the stand and ask her about all of these things that are going to make Detective Moretti look like a liar, undermine his credibility, which would entitle the jury to say, okay, if this is the kind of person he is, we are well within our rights to discount every single thing he said, to throw out in our minds every single piece of evidence. If he's asked them to lie about, to perjure, if he's asked another officer to perjure himself and lie about one piece of evidence, what's to say he hasn't done that with every piece of evidence? So there, the lead prosecutor is off the case and has now found herself in the uncomfortable position of being a witness for the defense. Well, going back to this this other investigation on witness tampering that Detective Moretti was conducting, eventually YNW Melly was charged with 7 counts of witness tampering. And Bortlan, his co-defendant in the murder trial, was charged with the same thing. That's what we're going to talk about today. We're going to talk about the 7 counts dealing with witness tampering during the first murder trial. And one thing to note, again, this is a very special case for one reason. YNW Melly is facing the death penalty if convicted. And this is in Florida. And he is one of the very first people to be facing the death penalty under Florida's new death penalty law. Previously, you were required to have a unanimous verdict of guilt. All 12 jurors had to say guilty. And then all 12 jurors had to say he deserves the death penalty. It had to be a unanimous verdict, guilty, and a unanimous, we are sentencing you to death. Well, we had the Parkland shooting case there in Florida. And in that case, the unanimous jury convicted the Parkland shooter of committing the crimes, but only 9 of the 12 voted for the death penalty. Only 9 of the 12. So 3 of the jurors didn't vote for the death penalty. Well, cue the governor passing a new law saying that only 8 jurors are required to sentence someone to death. Now, he did that specifically because of the Parkland shooting. If only 3 of the jurors if this new law would be in place and 3 of the jurors found the Parkland shooter didn't deserve death, but 9 thought he deserved death, well, they would meet the 8 juror requirement to sentence someone to death. So he specifically did this to prevent cases like the Parkland shooting case from happening again and being able to sentence people to death. So YNW Melly must have all 12 jurors find that he is guilty of committing the crime. But to get the death penalty, they only need 8 jurors to sentence him to death. And that's going to be a problem because I think there will be a constitutional challenge if he's convicted and sentenced to death. He is one of the first people to be tried and in jeopardy of being sentenced to death under this new law. So he may be a test case for the new death penalty law in Florida. Now, before we get into this, just want to say cheers to everybody. Thank you for being here. We got 382 people here. It's great to have you guys here. I'm sure a lot of you, this is one of your first few times seeing me because we picked up a lot of new viewers doing the Maya Kowalski streams the past couple of days. And we're going to get back to Maya tomorrow. There was the plaintiffs, the Kowalski family's lawyers, they have put out their response to the defense's horrific motions to set aside the verdict, to have a new trial, to reduce damages, etc. But the main thing they put out their response to, the main thing they've responded to was the defense's motion to have a new trial based on juror misconduct in the Maya Kowalski case. So we'll be looking at that tomorrow. Megan Fox, who has been doing the streams with me the past couple of days here, she did it today. She's probably going to take another look at it again tomorrow. And then tomorrow morning U.S. time, I will probably be going through the motion myself because from what I saw this morning with her, it was pretty interesting. So we'll be probably doing Maya Kowalski tomorrow. Thursday will be O.J. Simpson Day. We're going to be looking at the closing arguments in the O.J. Simpson trial with co-host for O.J. Thursday, Chandler Remington. She will be there. And Friday, we'll probably be doing some Alex Murdaugh updates. That'll kind of give you that's a little projection, a little preview of what's happening this week. Today, the cocktail we're having a great cocktail. This is an amazing cocktail, easy as pie to make. Get yourself some creme de menthe. White. There's two kinds of creme de menthe. There's like white and green. Don't get the green stuff for this. Get the white creme de menthe and get yourself some Hennessy or some other cognac. Simple. One part creme de menthe and 2 parts your cognac of choice. Of course, I'm using Henny because Henny's the way to go. Henny and menthol. That's what we're after today. Just it's a great cocktail. Get that Henny on the palate, and then it cools off into a nice cool menthol. Sort of like you take a swig of Henny and then you finish it off with a little cool menthol. You know what I'm talking about. There we go. Yeah, this was actually one of my dear friends who happens to be of the African American persuasion told me about this cocktail. I have no idea what it's called. I don't even know if you had a name for it. But it's the Henny and Cool Menthol cocktail. All right. With that out of the way, let's get into this here. Before we do that, I just want to say thanks to everybody for being here. We've got Been There, Done That, who's been a member for 12 months. I've determined that you are missing a good trapper's hat for your hat collection. A good trapper's hat. What kind of trapper's hat are you talking about? Because I may have one. I mean, if you're just talking like one with ear laps, I've got one of those. It's more of a skier's hat, though. I don't have like a good fur trapper's hat. If you're talking about like a houndstooth cap, like the old Sherlock Holmes thing, I don't have one of those. But yeah, I don't have a good trap, like a full on trapper's hat. It's more of like a ski bum hat that looks like a trapper's hat. Thank you so much for that, Been There, Done. Thank you for your support for 12 months. And also Alan, 69, member for 12 months. You two have been here for a year. Thank you so much. I just want to say, love you, Jeff. You're the best YouTube channel ever. 100. All right. Thank you so much for that. Deeply, deeply appreciate it. Okay, folks. I like Hennessy. It has a nice nose and a balanced flavor. It does. Just take your, and if you're not, I'm a big mint head. What I would suggest if you're not a huge mint lover like I am, take 2 ounces of Hennessy, so 2 parts of Hennessy, and then about 3/4 of an ounce, like 3/4 of an ounce. Yeah, I'd say about that. So 0.75 ounces of creme de menthe and 2 ounces of Hennessy or other cognac. Jeff going full gangster on topic as always. That's me. Today we're YNW hood racks. All right. So we'll pull in the super chats as they come in. But in the meantime, please hit that like and subscribe button if you haven't already. We've got 438 peeps here and 203 likes. It's like over half of you haven't done your job. So while I'm going through the like and subscribe poll, just get down there, pop down there, and hit that like button. If you've been here for more than a few seconds, if you're into the YNW Melly thing, if you're into trials, whatnot, hit the like button and subscribe, and make sure you're still subscribed. We've gained a ton of subscribers over the past few days. Let's keep it up. Love to have you guys here. Love to have new peeps. All right. Once you have, hit the like button. Once you have subscribed and checked to make sure you're still subscribed, because YouTube is asshole and they unsubscribe people all the time, just double check to make sure you're still subscribed and come on over here and take our like and subscribe poll. We'll let you decide what happens next in the YNW Melly nights that we have. Seems like Tuesday night is becoming, well, Tuesday night for me, Tuesday morning for people in the US, and Tuesday afternoon for the people in Europe. Seems to be YNW Melly Day on Tuesday. So for the next YNW Melly Day, your choices are, what should we do? More evidence tampering stuff. Rewatch the opening statements. review the original arrest document, because I realized that we haven't actually looked at the original arrest documents for the double murder charge, and Raven Liberty arrest video. Raven Liberty, she is the hulking giganto Terminator Morticia Adams what's her face from Resident Evil prosecutor who was notorious for holding up the evil plans and stuff notebook. She was arrested a while ago for domestic violence, and there's body cam footage of that arrest from her man who was getting the beat down from the She-Hulk. So those are your options for what do we talk about next on the next time. More evidence tampering stuff, rewatching opening statements, reviewing the original arrest documents, and the Raven Liberty arrest video. We'll check back in a little bit and see how the poll's going, and whatever wins is what we'll do next time. Aaron Hack says you should get a grill before the new trial. Yeah, that might be taking it one step too far. I think we're good. I think we're good with the Henny Cool Menthol cocktail. That's probably pushing the bounds of propriety, but it's damn good. Okay, well, here we go. What we're going to do first. My poll is also white. YouTube is such a mess. Well, it's that insert white race joke. All right. Let me bring up it was that way for me, by the way. I have an Android phone. All of the polls on what I was watching today were all whited out. I just kind of had to restart and then it came up properly. I mean, restart my YouTube thing on my phone and it corrected it. I don't know if that'll do it for everybody else, but it worked for me earlier today. I'm embiggening the wrong one. All right, let's embiggen this bad boy. Is that big enough? That's about as big as we're going to get. That's what he said, and that's what she understood. If we do that, is that going to cover it? That might just cover everything. Yeah, we will keep it as God intended. Make this bigger. I know what I need to do. I'll do it some other day, not today. Just thinking out loud. Oh, before we get going, we do have one super chat from Marv White that just rolled in. We'll read the super chats as they come in tonight because it's kind of a chill night. Here you go. Thank you so much. Oh, wow. You get the bighorn. Marv White gets the big giant foghorn instead of the small bells because he was the first today. My polls have been white out for 2 weeks. I just click one and move on. Oh, did some Googling, and it may be called a stinger, sir. Let's see. I've just never known I never even thought of the name of the cocktail. I just thought about it. Oh, it is a stinger. That's exactly what I was saying. Oh, it says to add a mint sprig as garnish. All right, we'll remember that next time. Huh? I just never thought of checking it. This was just always something I drank. It is a stinger cocktail. Thank you so much, Stingy, for doing my cocktail bartending job for me. Flux says, Jeff, show the arrest video of Ludo. Ludo bad. Ludo. She does kind of, we sort of named her Ludo because she was kind of hulking around like Ludo from Labyrinth. Prosecutors smell bad. Okay, there. Enough of that. Tampering with a witness in a capital felony case. That's count one. Let's roll up here and look at the counts here. First of all, information for tampering with a witness in a capital felony case. That's count one. Count number two, directing the activities of a criminal gang. Well, yes, that's one thing they're also alleging is that YNW Melly and Bortlan and the two victims were part of the blood gang, which is why they were always changing the C's to B's in their names and their text messages and everything, because, if you're a blood, you can't use a C because C's for the Crips. So that's why Bortlan, his real name was Cortland, and he can't have a C in his name. So he changed it to Bortlan to rep for the Bloods. And that's one thing. And so they're saying he was directing this activity of a criminal gang while he was in jail. Count number 3, solicitation to commit tampering. Count 4, another charge of solicitation to commit tampering. Yeah, yes, JKD Buck points out we were legal vibes and behandler because Chandler Remington, she watched the first trial with me. She was behandler and I was legal vibes. You know, just kind of repping. And count number 5 is conspiracy to commit tampering. Count 6 is unlawful use of a two-way communication device. He was illegally using a two-way communication device in jail, as they argue. And count 7 is the same. Another charge of unlawful use of a two-way communication device. Hey, speaking of behandler, there's behandler right there. What's up, behandler? Remington, Chandler Remington. Legal vibes, behandler. I said her blood name. Anyway, before we get too far off track, which we know happens quite often here. In the name and by the authority of the state of Florida. For some reason, it just kind of sounds like the Wizard of Oz. In the name and by the authority of the all-powerful, all-knowing, wonderful Wizard of Oz. Count 1, tampering with a witness in a capital felony. Harold F. Pryor. Harold F. Pryor is the state's attorney for the 17th Judicial Circuit of Florida. He is the highest elected official in that judicial circuit. So he would be like the district attorney in other states. Chat, you guys are too funny. So, in the county of Broward, by through his undersigned assistant state attorney. Okay, so the old state's attorney got chucked. The old attorney, she got booted off the case because she's going to be witness for the defense now. She's made herself a witness. And the new prosecutor that came in, she's a spitfire. She was the prosecutor in the XXX-Tentacion murder trial earlier this year. I take shit for that all the time. Anyway, y'all know the trial I'm talking about. the Tentacion trial. She got the convictions in that case. Now she's taking over this case. And in fact, there's a jailhouse snitch. Cheeseburger, the cheeseburger witness in the XXX Tentacion trial. He's also going to be a snitch in this trial. So she came in hard on this thing. She's throwing everything she can get. She's Cheeseburger. Cheeseburger's the snitch, Mads. We'll talk about this as we go along. So anyway, the new state's attorney comes in, and within just days of being in her official position, she drops these 7 new charges on Melly and Bortlan. Okay. Charges. The state attorney, through their assistant state attorney, charges that on one or more occasions on or about April 10th, 2023, through and including 22 July 2023, in the county and state aforesaid, Jamel Demons, that's YNW Melly's street name, that's his government name, Jamel Demons. His street name is YNW Melly, and Cortland Henry, that is YNW Bortlan's gov, and Terrence Mathis. Terrence Mathis, another guy. He did this. He did then. They did then. And they. God, I hate these old archaic language things that everybody. This is a large copy and paste. It's a cut and paste document. It's a fill in the blanks document. They've got all of this stupid, ancient, archaic language that is just pointless and stupid at this point. Like, in the name of and by the authority of the state of Florida, that kind of crap. So then we have this. They did then and there unlawfully and knowingly engage in misleading conduct and or offer pecuniary benefit, money, and or gain with the intent to cause or induce somebody to withhold testimony from an official proceeding and or evade legal process, summoning her to appear as a witness in an official proceeding and or be absent from an official proceeding to which she has been summoned by legal process, to wit, State v. Demons. Count 1, murder in the first degree with a firearm. 2, murder in the first degree with a firearm. And Jamel Demons, Cortland Henry, and Terrence Mathis committed the offense for the purpose of benefiting, promoting, or furthering the interests of a criminal gang, contrary to this section, that section, and the other section of Florida statutes. So they've redacted the name of the person, but they've said it's a she, and we've come to find out that it is his ex-girlfriend is the main one they're talking about here. I can see y'all giving everybody blood names in chat. That's nice. Count 2. Harold F. Pryor, state attorney, blah, 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 charges that on one or many of the same dates, Jamel Demons, Terrence Mathis, and Cortland Henry did then and there unlawfully and knowingly initiate, organize, plan, finance, direct, manage, and or supervise criminal gang-related activity, to wit, an activity committed with the intent to benefit, promote, or further the interests of a criminal gang, or for the purposes of increasing a person's own standing or position within a criminal gang, or an activity in which the participants are identified as criminal gang members or criminal gang associates acting individually or collectively to further any criminal purpose of a criminal gang. How many times can they say criminal in one sentence? I think that might be a record right there. Count 3, solicitation to commit tampering. Harold F. Pryor, state attorney for the 17th Judicial District of Florida, as prosecuting attorney for the state of Florida in the county of Broward, by and through his undersigned assistant state attorney, charges that on one or more occasions on or about April 10th, 2023 through and including July 22nd, 2023 in the county and state aforesaid, Jamel Demons did solicit Cortland Henry and or Terrence Mathis to commit an offense prohibited by law, to wit. But now what is YNW Melly solicited Henry and Mathis to do? Tampering with a witness, and in the course of such solicitation did command, encourage, hire, or request Cortland Henry and or Terrence Mathis to engage in specific conduct which would constitute such offense or an attempt to commit such offense, to wit, to unlawfully and knowingly engage in misleading conduct and or offer pecuniary benefit and or gain to cause or induce somebody to withhold testimony from an official proceeding and or evade legal process, summoning her to appear as a witness in an official proceeding and or be absent from an official proceeding to which she has been summoned by legal processes, to wit, this state, and in relation to these charges. There's literally about 8 words in that entire long paragraph that we really need to pay attention to. It's that they're accusing Jamel Demons of soliciting Cortland Henry and Terrence Mathis to, God, where the hell even is this? Okay, to encourage someone or to intimidate someone, to pressure someone into withholding testimony as a witness. That's the solicitation to commit tampering. There, he asked Cortland Henry and Terrence Mathis to try to force someone else to not testify. Darth Hideous, you are absolutely correct. Someone get Jeff a punch in on the soundboard that says insert legal jargon and bullshit here. Yeah, these legal boilerplate documents just annoy the hell out of me. Harold F. Pryor, the state's attorney general. All right, let's skip down here. We'll try to sort through the important things so we can get into the larger affidavit here in just a second. So they're being charged. Terrence Mathis. So this is the solicitation to commit tampering. Terrence Mathis did solicit Cortland Henry to commit an offense prohibited by law, tampering with a witness. And in the course of such solicitation did command or encourage or request Cortland Henry to engage in specific conduct, which would constitute such offense or an attempt to commit such an offense, to wit, to unlawfully and knowingly engage in misleading conduct, to offer pecuniary benefit or gain, to induce somebody to withhold testimony. And another conspiracy to commit tampering. Jamel Demons, Terrence Mathis, and Cortland Henry did then and there conspire, combine, agree, or confederate to commit the criminal offense of tampering with a witness. So they all conspired to solicit and commit tampering. So they've got committing the tampering, soliciting each other to commit the tampering, and the conspiracy to actually do the tampering. So they're getting them on all 3 levels, doing it, asking each other to do it, and then thinking about asking each other to do it. They're just throwing the book at him here. Count 6, unlawful use of a two-way communication device. This is slightly slightly more interesting. I'm not going to say it's fascinating, but it's slightly more interesting. Terrence Mathis did unlawfully use a two-way communication device, including but not limited to a portable two-way wireless communication device. Somebody got a cell phone in prison. Including but not limited to a portable two-way wireless communication device to facilitate or further the commission of tampering with a witness and or solicitation to commit tampering and or conspiring to commit tampering. And Terrence Mathis committed the offense for the purpose of benefiting, promoting, or furthering the interests of a criminal gang. And count 7. Cortland Henry also used a two-way, allegedly, communication device, including but not limited to a portable two-way wireless communication device to facilitate or further the commission of tampering with a witness and or solicitation to commit tampering and or conspiracy to commit tampering. And Cortland Henry committed the offense for the purpose of furthering the interests of a gang. So there we are. We have Alexandra Buckaloo. That's a great name. Alexandra, sort of an I, Alexandra Buckaloo. She's the new prosecutor on the case. She came in hard. She had been on the job like literally a matter of days when she just dropped this new batch of charges on Jamel Demons, Cortland Henry, Terrence Mathis. That's the information. That's the official document. And next we're going to look at all of the supporting affidavits and everything that went into preparing those charges. There's a lot of them. I don't know if we'll get through all of them. We'll get through what we can here. But there's a bunch. I'm glad Jeff cleared that two-way communication device thing up, because every time I hear that, I think CB radio, not cell phone. Hey, breaker. We're going to get ourselves a convoy rocking on through the night. If you're old, if you're an old, y'all remember the Convoy song. And Teddy Bear. Teddy Bear is another. See, this was the thing, like back in I guess it'd be like the late 70s. I don't know if it went into the early 80s, but back in the late 70s, there was a whole bunch of CB trucker songs. Convoy, Rubber Duck, yeah. That's right, that's what it was. It was Rubber Duck, not Teddy Bear. A Convoy and Rubber Duck, yeah. Don't you mean BB radio? Yeah, sad songs. Well, see, that was the thing. My dad also is a truck driver. That's why I had to listen to all those. Because my dad was one of those guys. There's two kinds of music, country and western. That's just kind of how I grew up. Farms and trucks. That's just how I grew up. If you were ever a trucker, you still know the Convoy song. Exactly. And yeah, well, the film Convoy was based. I mean, that actually had its origins in the song Convoy. But wow, we just got off the beaten path with that one, didn't we? I just brought this up so we could read Marv White's super chat. Marv White, the true test of a lawyer is how fast they can proofread and edit, right? Vices knocks that out of the park with my super chats. Well, I try. I do my best, but I'm not that great, because unless you're paying me huge amounts of money to give a shit about my typing, I don't really care. So I've been interpreting my own texts long enough that I'm pretty good at reading over other people's typos. Okay, I guess. Lucina Chima telling the youngs a CB is a citizen band radio. We had a 40 channel CB in my dad's truck. It was pretty good. Yeah, those radio things like cop radios that the truckers used to call out speed traps. Exactly. All right. Let's get back in on this now. And again, super special shout out to the 583 of you who are here. Get down there and hit that like button while we bring this up. You know you want to hit that like button. You know you want to hit that like button. I know you want to hit that like button. Do it. Do it. Oh, see, now I ruined my joke. I have too many of these stupid video clips. I've got to weed out the ones I don't use anymore so I can use the ones I have. I was going to say, hit the like button. You know you want to do it.
The power of Christ compels you.
But too late. I ruined the joke. So let's just shut up and get on with the document. Here we are. This is what we're looking at here. Broward County Sheriff's Office report. And I just want to say, this is like the worst Bortlan picture. I mean, the worst Melly picture I think you could ever. It doesn't work well at all in the fax machine. That's what happens when you take a picture, you photograph it, you copy it, you scan it, you print it, you photograph it some more, you copy it a few more times and continue. You lather, rinse, and repeat. It just looks like a Muppet. it just looks like a Sesame Street Muppet. Sorry, Melly. I know your booking shots aren't supposed to be your best pictures, but they did you wrong with this. They did you wrong with this picture. Matt, YNW Pixel. That's actually that's quick. That's quick. Yeah, they did Melly wrong with that one, man. All right. Let's look at these at the booking report here. They've done us the favor of blacking out his social security number. Booking sheet control date 2/13/19. So this is when he went in the first time, I believe. They've just kept one on file. Now let's take a look at his. He's got some tats. We all know he has some tattoos. His neck tattoos say Jamie and Jaina. On his face, other than specified, he has a left eye heart and a right eye 17. On his right arm, he has ETH, whatever ETH is. He's got a couple of ETH money bags, Egyptian clock ETH, whatever. He's got ETHs all over him. Trophy, Bart Simpson. He has a Bart Simpson tattoo on his right arm. He does kind of look like a Bart Simpson in there. He does sort of kind of look like he looks like a Simpsons character there. He can be like YNW Bart. Ethereum. He does not have an Ethereum tattoo. Don't have a bow, man. Okay, I've got to stop paying attention to the chat. You guys are making me laugh. You are distracting me like nobody's business today. You guys are funny as hell. My chat is the best chat ever. He does not have Ethereum tattoos on his arm. He has a clock ETH trophy of Bart Simpson, and he has Jamie and 1000K on his left arm. Oh, dear. Oh, God. All right. Witness tampering. Count number 1. Witness tampering. On or about April 10th. This is Garrett Steele. Before me, this date personally appeared Detective Garrett Steele. Garrett Steele, this is his report. On or about April 10th. That does not look like Garrett if you look at the signature. How is that a G? That looks like a J. All right, anyway. On or about April 10th, 2023, continuing through and including July 22nd, 2023, Jamel Demons, along with others, did then and there unlawfully knowingly engage in misleading conduct toward another person with the intent to cause or induce somebody to withhold testimony or withhold a record, document, or other object, or to cause or induce that person to evade legal process, summoning that person to appear as a witness, or to produce a record, document, or other object in an official proceeding, or to cause or induce this person to be absent from an official proceeding to which such person has been summoned by legal process. More specifically described as the jury trial of Jamel Demons. So, all that is down to say that they engage in misleading conduct toward another person, intending to cause them to miss the jury trial or not come to the jury trial. And as a result thereof, the official investigation or official proceeding effected involved blah, blah, blah. Let's get on down here. All right, here's the deets. On October 26, 2018, at 4:35 a.m., Cortland Henry entered the emergency room at this location, requesting assistance for the 2 passengers in his vehicle, 2018 Jeep Compass, and they were shot multiple times. Officer Amengor from the Miramar Police Department, who was working at the security detail, exited the hospital and made contact with the aforementioned vehicle that was stopped in the this is cop talk. God, I hate cop. The only thing I hate more than lawyer boilerplate nonsense is cop talk. They could say Officer Amengor went out to the vehicle. But no, they can't say Officer Amengor went out to the vehicle because that wouldn't make them sound like smart cops. That would make them sound like ordinary cops. They need to be super cops. So instead of saying Officer Amengor went out to the car, Officer Amengor, who was working the security detail, exited the hospital and made contact with the aforementioned vehicle that was stopped in the loading zone on the north side, ER entrance. Amengor requested medical staff in the removing of 2 passengers. Both passengers were unresponsive and exhibited multiple gunshot wounds. The aforementioned vehicle transporting both victims also sustained a minimum of 8 projectile entry points on the right side exterior and 1 visible projectile entry point near to the rear lift gate. The front right passenger, somebody, sustained gunshot wounds to his torso and head, while the right rear passenger, the other person, sustained several gunshot wounds to his back and head. Both passengers on the right side of the vehicle were pronounced deceased by medical staff at... Henry was questioned by Detective Moretti, the cop who may or may not be shady and may or may not have solicited another officer to commit perjury in executing the search warrant against YNW Melly's mother to try to attain additional information about these charges. That Detective Moretti. So, Henry was questioned by Detective Moretti, and Henry said that he had departed to a recording studio. He left. That means he left to record. He departed to a recording studio in Fort Lauderdale with the 2 victims in his vehicle. Henry stated he drove on I-595 to I-75 and exited at Miramar Parkway heading west. Henry stated that just past Southwest 160 Avenue. God, this is small. That's what she said. See if we can click this up one more point. I'm sitting right here in front of it. I'm having a hard time trying to read this damn thing. No, I don't need to move text around. I need to embiggen it. Stop that. Okay. Yeah. All right. I guess this is as big as it's going to get. That's what she said. Yeah. Right. So Henry immediately lowered. Okay, they went to Avenue. A vehicle pulled up next to him and started shooting. See, this is where cop talk gets you in trouble. Here he said he was questioned by Detective Moretti, and Henry said he had departed to a recording studio. What the cop actually meant was he departed from a recording studio. He's trying to be smart, and he ends up being an idiot. So they're heading there. A vehicle pulled up next to him and started shooting. Henry immediately lowered his body position to the floorboards in a protective posture to avoid being shot. Henry added that when he sat upright, his friends so-and-so and so-and-so were shot. We'll just say Sack and Juvie were shot, and he immediately proceeded to the nearest hospital. Detective Toyota, I guess Detective Mazda was busy. Detective Toyota later drove with Henry to have him identify the specific location where the shooting occurred. Henry pointed out the 16,100 block of Miramar Parkway. It should be noted the area was shut down between 160th Avenue and 172nd Avenue on Miramar Parkway and was closed and was closely examined for any evidence to corroborate the statements made by Henry. After a long and exhausting examination, no evidence was found. The detectives and officers walked the 12 blocks out on foot. It should be noted, not a single report of gunshots was reported to Broward County Communications Center, nor Miami-Dade as well. It should be noted that the area between 172nd and 184th was closed down on 10/26/2018 and canvassed on foot by detectives and officers. No corroborating evidence was found. Henry's hands were processed by Miramar Police Department crime scene technician Michael Kelly by submission for laboratory testing with Tritech gunshot residue evidence collection kit and with a presumptive gunshot residue test. Subsequent testing by R.J. Lee Laboratories showed that Cortland Henry had a small number of particles consistent with gunshot residue on his hands. Now, the officer, he did take an oath. He swore under oath. That is a true and correct statement. Demons Jamel is another affidavit. This is also Detective Garrett Steele. Detective Moretti. This is October 26th, 2018. Detective Moretti, along with Detective Toyota, made contact with somebody who additionally identified himself as somebody at somewhere. This is the last known residence of the victims. According to this person, they, Henry, Demmons, and blank, and a few others. This is heavily redacted. We're at the recording studio in Fort Lauderdale, and they all left together in 2 separate vehicles. Stated he arrived a little ahead of the victims at the aforementioned residence. Stated it wasn't until later that he found out his friends were shot. Said that Demmons was in his vehicle, a red Mitsubishi. So Detective Toyota is checking out the red Mitsubishi, and the gray Jeep was occupied by Henry. Was asked if he knew the location of Demmons, and he stated he did not. So yeah, when the cops are, they're like, "Hey, where's Demmons?" Because he just kind of he effed off somewhere. Nobody knew where he was. He wasn't at the house with everybody else. He was just gone. And they're asking where he was. They don't know. However, it was later discovered that was lying to Detective Moretti, as he had just come from the residence of this person, aka that person, and had been in the presence of Demmons. So he knew where Demmons was. Demmons was at this other house. The location of the recording studio was identified as Detective Toyota and Bertrand made contact with management on 10/26/2018. The manager of the studio confirmed the victims were at the recording studio along with Jamel Demmons and Cortland Henry. The manager provided Toyota and Bertrand access to the studio security camera. Video evidence shows on 10/26/2018, the aforementioned gray Jeep departed the something located at somewhere in Fort Lauderdale. The video was behind 1 hour. And on 10/26/2018, the driver identified as Cortland Henry, the left rear passenger as Jamel Demmons, the right front passenger was and the right rear passenger as It should be noted that Demmons had a light brown satchel hanging down the left side of his body. When they departed the studio, he was carrying a black satchel in his left hand. Neither satchel was located in the Jeep when Cortland Henry showed up at the hospital with the 2 victims. The gray Jeep with the above, why would they black out the name of the hospital? That's weird. The gray Jeep with the above listed individuals, Demmons, Henry, blank and blank, Sack and Juvie, departed the area of the recording studio, the red Mitsubishi being driven by somebody and occupied by another person and 2 other individuals. As stated earlier, said he proceeded directly to his residence. They went straight home. This was confirmed by the security cameras at the gatehouse to Sunset Lakes, located at this address, as he arrived at 3:49 hours. The video surveillance camera at 1701 Miramar Parkway captured the red Mitsubishi and a dark SUV passing this address at 3:46. This is consistent with the arrival of the red Mitsubishi at the security gate. They had to stop and be identified to enter the residence by the security guard, as observed on the video. Yoda's having a little attack. Hi, doggo. Yep. Yoda's just having a little freak out. They're happy because I let them sleep on the bed. So Yoda's just expressing his joy at being on my bed. Okay. Well, let's see this is another affidavit. This one isn't nearly as heavily redacted. We're slowly getting through these things. We're piecing together, because now they got to go and they got to make these affidavits about each little individual pieces of their investigation so we can put together a full picture. Now, he's not barking at the ghost. He's just happily flopping around on the bed, probably enjoying the nice plushy down-filled blankets. And Strawberry has just gone to join him. Cool. All right. So on October 26, 2018, a search warrant was issued in this case for the vehicle driven by Henry and occupied with Sack and Juvie and Demmons. The vehicle was maintained in secured storage at the Miramar PD West substation. The vehicle is owned by Enterprise Car Rental and rented by the manager of Demmons. Demmons didn't even own the Jeep? Dude, you're a rap star, own the Jeep. What are you paying rental costs for? Whatever. It's all in the past. The evidence was processed by CSI Carter and Carroll. The vehicle had 8 visible projectile holes on the right side of the vehicle, 3 on the front right passenger's door, 5 on the right rear passenger door. There was also a projectile hole in the rear left lift gate. The vehicle also had visible damage to the interior of the vehicle from projectiles entering from the outside to the inside of the vehicle. A significant amount of blood was on the inside passenger side of the vehicle, front and back. All the projectiles entering the vehicle were concentrated to the right side of the vehicle. All the evidence was collected and placed into evidence. It should be noted that one single 40 caliber shell casing, Blazer S&W, was found inside of the vehicle, on the floorboard of the left rear passenger side. It was found inside a white plastic bag on the floorboard. This was the seat that was utilized by Demons, Melly, as observed on video. The single shell casing also contradicts statements made by Henry stating that this incident was a drive-by shooting. This supports the evidence that the victims were shot inside the car first, and the projectile holes on the exterior was later staged in an effort to misdirect law enforcement investigation. On October 27th, 2018, Mark Moretti, here we go, there's our Detective Moretti again, made contact with so-and-so in such a place. After confronting that person with the video evidence, he then changed his story. He added Demons was in a gray Jeep initially, but along the way, he got out of the Jeep and entered his red Mitsubishi. He stated this occurred on I-75 near the Sheridan Street exit. Stated it was contacted by Demons via Snapchat to pull over on I-75 and meet up. Well, so okay. He said, "Oh, never mind. He didn't not go with me. He came with me after they showed him the evidence. He changed his story and said yes. He Snapchatted me, told me to pull over, and then he got in my red Mitsubishi. A search warrant was obtained on the cell phone /cell sites used by Demons. Cell phone mapping showed Demons and others were together, and someone followed behind them. It was determined that somebody did proceed to the residence and arrived at the location around 3:49 a.m. This was also confirmed by the video at the gate to Sunset Lakes. These records also showed a continuous route from the studio to the residence without a stop or delay in between. So this is the affidavit saying he said that he didn't know. Then we found out he did know. Then he lied and said he came with me, but after checking his cell phone records show that they never slowed down, stopped, or did anything that would allow YNW Melly to switch vehicles. That's his story, and he's sticking to it. It's good. Well, what do we have here? We have another affidavit. We got lots of affidavits. Okay, I'll tell you another Law Rack's pet peeve. People that pronounce affidavit. That annoys me. It annoys me way more than it should. People who say affidavit instead of affidavit. It's an affidavit. If I from Utah can pronounce affidavit, you can. Give me all the shit you want about voir dire, which is how we say it out in Utah. Give me shit all you want about saying voir dire instead of voir dire, but at least say affidavit, people. YNW Satchel Chaser. This is not a David, it's a David. Urgh. All right, let's see. This is a cell site warrant. Ooh, cell site warrant. This sounds exciting, doesn't it? While you're all reveling in the excitement, super shout out to you 446 that are watching this right now. We got 343 likes. Boom, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button and take our poll. Are we to poll time? Oh, we are at poll time. We're the hour in. Let's check our poll. This is you telling me what we should talk about on the next YNW Melly night. For those of you that don't know, it was supposed to start on December 8th, but because the entire prosecution team got thrown, I forgot to mention something else. Not the entire prosecutor, the lead prosecutor, she got thrown off, but also the entire jury panel was given the boot a couple of weeks ago because the defendant misstated the law when questioning jurors. The defense lawyer, he said they had to prove that the prosecution had to prove he was in a gang in order to get a murder conviction, which is a misstatement of law. The judge threw out the entire jury panel. They have to find new jurors, and so that bumps back the trial date. They're hoping to start the trial. The opening statements are scheduled to begin on February 8th. So until then, we got to fill in we got to get our Melly fixes when there's no developments to update you on. So when there's nothing really important to update you on, we need to go back and do things. So I've given you the option to choose here in the like and subscribe poll what you want to do for our next Melly night. Hit that like button, hit the subscribe button, make sure you're still subscribed, and then take our little poll. Currently it stands, what should we do for next Melly night or next Melly day for some of you? 9% of you said rewatch the opening statements. Okay, people don't want to watch the opening statements again. 14% of you said show the original arrest document because I haven't actually reviewed with all of you the original arrest documents. I thought about that. Well, 29% of you, more people of you, are interested in the Raven Liberty arrest video. Ludo, Gigantor Morticia Adams, the giant vampire Lady Dimitri, whatever her name is from Resident Evil, whatever you want to call her. She was arrested for a domestic incident, and there are police body cam footages of that. 29% of you said you want to watch that, but the vast majority of you say that you want to watch more evidence tampering stuff. Well, okay. If it continues along this trajectory, what we'll talk about next Melly Night is the prosecution wants to bring these charges in as evidence in the new murder trial. In the murder retrial, they want to talk about all of these new charges to say, see, this is evidence that he was guilty because he's been charged with these counts of witness tampering, et cetera, et cetera. That shows he knew he was guilty and wanted to prevent people from testifying. There's a big motion they wrote to try to get these charges introduced as evidence in the murder trial because these are completely separate. All of these charges are going to be tried in a completely separate criminal trial. Their paths right now do not cross. But the prosecuting attorney, she wants to bring the information, the knowledge of these cases into the murder trial to show a guilty state of mind for YNW Melly. When you lose your lead investigator or have him severely compromised, you got to find different ways of convicting them. So they're going to try to show they were guilty, and as evidence that they were guilty, here's evidence that they've been charged with trying to make sure people didn't testify against them. And so if the poll continues to go this way, that's what we'll look at next time. All right. But what are we looking at right now, you ask? Well, I don't know. Let's read it and find out, shall we? I'm getting a little bit of a cold. Excuse me while I snuffle here. Damn it, I didn't hit the mute button. I apologize for that. I just clicked just to the left of the mute button before I did that. I apologize for sniffing loudly into the I feel bad. Sorry about that. This is I apologize. The cell site warrant for the cell phones of Demon, so-and-so and so-and-so revealed that they traveled west on Miramar Parkway. So this is I've just gone full DSP. All right. Snort. This is their track. This is the cell phone track. Because that was a big part of the trial too. Where did this cell phone go? And again, they're watching you. Okay, they revealed the cell phone traveled northwest on Miramar Parkway, but turned north on Southwest 184 towards Pines Boulevard, and then west onto Pines Boulevard. Video evidence showed the gray Jeep Compass traveling west in the 1920. How are we going to say that? We can't say 19,200. We'll call it the 19,200 block at 3:53 hours, and returned eastbound at 4:06 hours. Cell site data from Demon's cell phone corresponded with the actual crime scene location. How do they know it's an actual crime scene? Well, I'm sure they'll tell us. It was basically because they followed the cell phone, which led them to a dead end. I think it was a cul-de-sac somewhere, and they found lots of broken glass, which elicited the 5-hour testimony from broken glass guy, and they found a bunch of bullets. So, yeah. All right. So Melly's phone. Where do we go? It corresponded to the actual crime scene location, which is within the jurisdictional limits of Miramar, Broward County, Florida. So-and-so's cell phone also registered at the same location as Demon's. The two cell phones are together. So the cell phones of the victim, cell phones of Demon are together. The cell phone for so-and-so registered on a cell tower near the crime scene, but separate and apart from the false reported drive-by location. So the victim's phone was never near the drive-by location. This evidence contradicts statements made by Henry at the hospital, as it shows a different path traveled. These records also don't show Demon's meeting up with so-and-so and proceeding home with him. I guess it wasn't the victim. I guess it was the guy in the Mitsubishi. Whatevs. T-Mobile cell phone. See, we wouldn't be confused if they would just tell you who these. They're all witnesses. They're all people. You don't need to redact it. T-Mobile cell phone records also show that Demmons was traveling from Fort Lauderdale in a western direction, starting at 3:20 hours until the time of the shooting on 10/26/2018. This is consistent with video evidence obtained in this case. The records then show Demmons traveling back in an eastern direction with the location of the crime scene being in the path of travel. It should be noted that the original crime scene identified by Henry was a false location. This investigation revealed that Henry intentionally lied to Detective Moretti and others to deceive and mislead the investigation in an attempt to hide the incriminating truth pertaining to the homicides of Sack Chaser and Juvie. The same cell phone records show the cell phones of Demmons and Mitsubishi Guy moving around the area west of I-75 in Pembroke. See, in the video, the records of Demmons also indicated departure from the vehicle at 4:32 hours. Video evidence shows Henry arriving at the hospital with Sack and Juvie, but without Demmons. According to CDR of Demmons T-Mobile via search warrant issued in reference to this case, evidence shows that Henry and Demmons drove around for a period of time with the two dead victims in their vehicle prior to entering the hospital. This was in a calculated effort to establish their version of the incident in an attempt to deceive law enforcement. Special Agent Brendan Collins of the FBI later analyzed the records and concurred in the initial analysis done by Mark Moretti. Video evidence obtained from the hospital shows Henry had changed his clothes. When Henry departed the studio, he was wearing a black t-shirt, but at the hospital, he was wearing a black hoodie. Is that changing clothes, or did he just put on a hoodie? Because it was October, and it may have been a little chilly at night. The black hoodie was later examined, and no forensic evidence was noted. However, the black t-shirt worn under the hoodie, which seems that's what he did, by Henry had a blood stain pattern on it, both front and back. That's unfortunate. Subsequent DEA analysis by the Broward County Sheriff showed the blood on the front of the t-shirt consistent with victim so-and-so, and the blood on the back was consistent with the other victim. Well, when you're sitting right next to two people that are shot, I would guess you'd have a little bit of their blood on you. How you doing, chat? Snoring so funny. The dogs. Can we hear the dogs? Sarah Boone. Yeah, Sarah Boone's supposed to go to trial on December 15th. So we will probably be covering that when it happens. If it happens. Anyone see 8-bit Link sword to the left and the dots? That's random. Wow. All right. Well, Garrett Steele's got another affidavit here. This is going to show that Henry, the Bortlan, is lying, supposedly. This is about the shooting. Sarah Boone was continued to next year? Scheduled for January 29th? Shit. Well, this is scheduled for February 8th. So, damn it. We're going to do this. We don't need no stinking Sarah Boone. Sarah Boone was the suitcase murderess that somehow convinced her drunk boyfriend to get into a suitcase, then zipped him up and suffocated him, allegedly. We're doing the Melly trial. If they overlap, we'll do hers until this starts. Yeah, Clenny is supposed to be also, I think December 19th, I think is when Clenny is supposed to start, but that'll get bumped too. I'm pretty sure. Anyway, let's get back to Melly. Do we have any? Oh, we got one super chat to read from, oh, not a super chat. It's a member chat from Huge Ass. You're a huge ass, so you get the huge foghorn. If the Courtney Clenny and Sarah Boone trials overlap, oh, hey, we just addressed this. Which one do you think you will cover? Well, now there's not supposed to overlap, but I was gonna go Sarah Boone. Sarah Boone all the way. But if Sarah Boone and Melly overlap, we'll do Melly because I'm invested in this. I'm invested in this trial now. We did the original full trial. We've done all the stuff, waiting for the new trial to start. So if there's an overlap with Boone, I'm obligated to do Melly. But that just means I'll do Boone later and grift the hell out of that too, because that's me. I'm a grifter. All right. Let's jump back on here into the next of our affidavits. On November 21st, 2018, so this is a couple of weeks after the Moidas happened, Officer D. Gowans of the Fort Lauderdale K-9 unit with K-9 gunner was requested to his dog's named Gunner. Got a dog named Gunner. Was requested to assist in searching the area identified as suspected crime scene from the phone records. Within the jurisdiction of Miramar, Broward County, Florida, the K9 showed reaction to an area on the side of the road approximately 870 feet from the nearest north-south running cross street. A closer, good dog who smelled the crime. The doggy smelled the crime. A closer examination revealed a total of 8 .40 caliber Blazer S&W Smith & Wesson shell casings on the ground next to the roadway on the shoulder. 2 different types of shards of glass were so 2 different types of shards of glass were found in close proximity to the shell casings. The first type of glass was a clear glass consistent with the front right passenger window of the vehicle, and the second type was a tinted glass consistent with the right rear passenger side window of the aforementioned vehicle. This crime scene was processed by CSI Curry. The casings were sent to BSO Crime Lab for a comparison and evaluation, and the results revealed the fired casings located matched the fired casings recovered in the car on October 26, 2018. Oops. A closer examination of the newly discovered crime scene revealed the vehicle was stopped at this location and weapons were discharged into the vehicle. The vehicle made a U-turn and fled the area. The other side of the road also had shards of glass consistent with the passenger window of the vehicle. The glass shards were submitted to the trace materials section of the Florida Department of Law Enforcement for comparison to standards from the Jeep Compass. They were found to be substantially similar and consistent with each other. The physical evidence further contradicts the statements made by Henry on the morning of the shooting at the hospital to Detective Moretti. There was clearly not a drive-by shooting, and no other vehicle pulled next to them and started shooting as stated by Henry. This clearly shows a pattern of deceitfulness by Henry, all in an effort to mislead the investigation. On December 5th, 2018, Detective Moretti received the autopsy report for one of them. It stated the wound path on the neck of that person was from back to front, left to right, and upward. So, back to front, shot from behind, left to right, from the driver's side of the vehicle, and upwards. So that would be consistent with a shooting from someone in the rear driver's side seat car. This was in contradiction to what was stated that a drive-by occurred on the right side of the vehicle while in motion. So-and-so also has a gunshot wound to his right shoulder and his chest. It should be noted none of the flight paths from the exterior of the vehicle matched the wound path on the rear of the head of so-and-so's head. It was obvious the projectile entered from the left rear side of the vehicle. On December 14, 2018, Dr. R. McDougall, assistant medical examiner for Broward County, examined the gray Jeep that was occupied by all parties involved at the time of the homicide. This vehicle has been maintained in secured storage since the incident and continues to be maintained in secured storage. Those of you that hadn't heard of Melly, I hadn't heard of him either until he was on trial. And actually, I didn't even hear of him when he was on trial. When I heard of it was, like I said, like a day or two after it's, I think day 2, I think is when I found out about it. I was just minding my own business, and our very own channel member, mod, all around cool and awesome person, Flux, starts texting me in the middle of the night going, oh my God, you got to watch this case. This is crazy. There's an insane woman on the stand. This is lovely. This is awesome. And I went and watched and went, oh my God, we got to cover this case. This is insane. That was Melly's ex-girlfriend's mother that was on the stand, causing all kinds of stuff. So yeah, this we're following this, and it's all Flux's fault. Because of Flux, we're following this case. All right. Well, now it's time to move on to yet again. This okay, I got to remember the page. This is page 8. This is nothing but a ton of affidavits, and they all sort of add together little pieces that lead up to all of these tamperings with things and cell phones and all of these shenanigans that they're trying to put together. So now we've just got that they're lying about the crime scene. They've allegedly were places they said they weren't, and they weren't places they said they were. And let's see, we were on page 8, right? There we go. I should put that on a t-shirt, because of Flux. We should, yes. It all happens because of Flux. All right, now we're going to be talking about the other person who was shot in the vehicle. I honestly can't remember who was in the front passenger seat and who was in the rear passenger seat. Otherwise, I'd be using their names. On January 11th, 2019, Detective Moretti received confirmation from the medical examiner's office that the entry wound on the left side of the other person's face was an intermediate wound. It should be noted that there was a 3-centimeter stippling pattern around the entry wound. A stippling pattern is where... Oh, Travis Rudolph was your... Yeah, that was definitely your fault. Okay, you're right. I have no idea. I have zero recollection of how I became involved in the Melly case. That's right. It was Travis Rudolph case that she started messaging me in the middle of the night about. I stand corrected, Flux. This one probably wasn't because of you. This might have been because of Rose or somebody. I can't remember whose fault this was. All right. Anyway, the stippling is the powder, the unburned powder that's discharged from the firearm. It's still burning hot, an unconsumed powder that essentially hits and burns whatever it touches. So if you have a 3-centimeter stippling pattern around the entry wound, that is being fired very, very, very close to his face. They're saying between 18 inches and 3 feet, if I recall. So there's a 3-centimeter stippling pattern around the wound. This was also in contradiction to what Henry stated to Detective Moretti at the hospital when he attempted to mislead Detective Moretti into believing this was a drive-by shooting. The evidence shows the initial lethal shot occurred from inside the vehicle and was initiated from the left rear passenger side, the same position occupied by Demons. An intermediate wound, by definition, would indicate a distance of 3 inches to 3 feet between the victim and the weapon. However, due to a 3-centimeter stippling pattern on the weapon was in close proximity to the person's head. The gunshot wounds to the back of so-and-so also indicates these wounds were inflicted after he was shot in the head. As the projectiles entered so-and-so's back, when he was leaning to the left, I guess, and showing no hemorrhaging, which is indicative of post-mortem infliction. They shot him and there was no blood coming from the bullet wound. He was dead. Evidence from the autopsy revealed that both victims' wound paths to their head were from left to right direction. This directly contradicts the statements made by Henry and does not support the statement of a drive-by shooting that occurred on the right side of the vehicle. In 2022 and 2023, Detective Christopher Williams of the Broward Sheriff's Office Crime Scene Unit conducted an in-depth analysis of the Jeep Compass for the purpose of doing a shooting reconstruction. Detective Williams opined that the projectile strike marks on the side of the vehicle were not consistent with the drive-by shooting, and that the individual was seated in the rear driver's side seat when the initial fatal shots were fired into Sac and Juvie. A search warrant was requested for the Snapchat account of Demons. The warrant was reviewed and later approved by Judge Orlando. The direct messaging of the Snapchat account of Demons revealed he was communicating with his girlfriend. Okay, now we've got girlfriend, who is reportedly the person that they tried to threaten or persuade or coerce or pay off not to attend the hearing. Now the girlfriend's getting involved. So the Snapchat account of Demons revealed he was communicating with his girlfriend on 11/9/2014, just 14 days after the homicide, and he stated, "This N asterisk saved my life. He coming everywhere with me, cause if them crackers come grab him, it's my fault. You forgot." I know, Yoda. I don't understand what the fuck he's talking about either. I'm far too white for some of this shit. So are you, Yoda. We're just doing what we can, man. Let's try that again, shall we? Let's try a little harder to decipher that. He sent a text message. "This N-word saved my life. He coming everywhere with me, cause if them crackers come grab him, it's my fault. You forgot."
I'm sorry, I don't understand.
Cuddy say can't hang.
Oh, stewardess, I speak jive.
Oh, good.
He said that he's in great pain and he wants to know if you can help him.
All right, would you tell him to just relax and I'll be back as soon as I can with some medicine.
Just hang loose, blood. She's gonna catch up on the rebound on the med side.
I keep Bortlan wit because at the end of the day, he did one of the realest shit in my life. These statements reference Demons' loyalty and association with Henry. They also suggest that Henry was loyal to him because he is the one who drove the bodies to the hospital and dealt with law. How do you get Henry was loyal because he is the one who drove the bodies to the hospital and dealt with law enforcement from that string of alphabet letters thrown together? And that was, they had black rapper text translating white guy on the stand for God, what was it? 2 days, 3 days, going through hundreds of these text messages telling us what they really, really said. So yeah, I hope we don't have to go through translator guy again. All right, let's keep going here. They also suggest Henry was loyal to him because he is the one who drove the bodies to the hospital and dealt with law enforcement. Okay, if you say so. These statements also supported the belief by law enforcement that Demons is the shooter, and the evidence leads back to him, and any further cooperation by Henry would be damaging to Demons. This warrant also reveals that there was no communication between Demons and so-and-so on 10/26/2018, as previously stated to law enforcement by this other guy, commonly referred to as somebody in messages by Demons. For example, on October 12, 2018, Demons contacted co-defendant Cortland Henry via messaging and asked him to go to someplace address in Cocoa and referred to it as so-and-so's house. Cortland Henry was saved as contact Bort in the phone used by Demons. See below. Well, there you go. Never mind. Just go to so-and-so's house. Her mama gonna give it to you. Give it to you. Good Lord. Light foe send her Eddie. Sent. Sack Chaser Howard. Wow. All right. Thanks. Thanks for that enlightening text message. I don't know what I'm doing half the time here. Again, I'm who better to comment on black rapper street message slang than a 54-year-old fat white lawyer in Busan, Korea from Utah? Huh? Tell me who's more qualified. Ain't nobody more qualified than me, motherfucker. That's why we're doing it. Dana loves Zumba. Dana loves Zumba. Thank you so much. Don't worry, Vices. I can translate if needed. I think I did pretty good last time. Yeah, we had a few Utes and a few people of color helping us pigmentally challenged people translate the messages during the last trial. Thank you, Dana loves Zumba. We appreciate that. We'll just stay tuned. We'll probably be needing your help. Absolutely. Nobody else is more qualified for me than me to do this. All right. Tell me more. Did she put up a fight? Nah. I got street cred. The only street cred I got is I play like 1920s, 1930s Appalachian blues guitar, like Blind Lemon Jefferson, Mississippi John Hurt, classics like that. But someone once told me I was the blackest man from Utah. I think there was like me and him in Utah at that point in time. So, and he wasn't from Utah. That's where my street cred ends. Yeah, I'm pigmentally challenged. That's all there is to it. So let's get on to the next affidavit. We've brought the girlfriend into this in the last affidavit. So let's we're starting to tie. It's just like Jeff Lebowski's rug. We're bringing this all together. So we're sort of tying the room together now here with these various affidavits. On December 4th, 2018, Demons, in an effort to promote, I'm sorry, that was a weird pause in the chat. Demons, in an effort to promote his music career, released a documentary on YouTube. Throughout the 21-minute documentary, Demons glorified his use and possession of firearms. Oh, him and every other fucking rapper that's ever walked fucking planet Earth. Ooh, a rapper showing guns in a rap video. Oh, the horror, surprise, and shock on my face. So anyway. Ooh, it's a black man with guns. Be afraid of him. That's sort of what the cops are saying here. Demmons glorified his use and possession of firearms. Demmons stated he'd been carrying a gun since he was in 4th grade. This is also consistent with statements obtained during his investigation regarding Demmons always in possession of a firearm. At the end of the documentary, his final screen displays these words. 4 days after the completion of this film, YNW Melly and his friends were targets of a drive-by shooting in Miami, Florida. This is significant as it places Demmons at the scene of the crime in the vehicle with Henry and the other two. An Instagram warrant was authorized by the Honorable Michael Lynch. That's an unfortunate name for a judge overseeing a trial of a couple of black kids charged with murder. The Honorable Michael Lynch on the account belonging to Jamel Demmons identified as YNW Melly in January 2019. The account included a conversation with an individual identified by the username PZ Gambino. Where y'all come up with these names? PZ Gambino, who reached out to check on the well-being of Demmons after the deaths of Sack and Juvie, had made public on several media. Demmons responded with, "I did that." Oh, yeah, that video. He's like, "I did that." Shh. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, not Chandler, but Handler Remington just sent me a text that made me laugh. Damn it, Chandler, stop that. I'm sorry, Behandler, stop that. Check on the well-being of Demmons after the Sack and Juvie. Yeah, because y'all remember he had that video like, "I did that." Shh. PZ Gambino, whatever. Okay, blah, blah, blah. Gave 2 sworn statements to law enforcement during the course of the investigation. Her mother, the Spitfire witness who said she was intimidated and threatened by the prosecution, also gave a sworn statement to Detective Moretti. In the statements, Mrs. So-and-so and Ms. So-and-so and Ms. So-and-so indicate that Jamel Demmons completed a video call to so-and-so in the early morning hours of October 26, 2018, stating that he was just involved in a drive-by shooting. They also corroborate by phone records showing Ms. calling so-and-so, and then so-and-so calls Mr. Demmons' phone repeatedly without any answer. Ms. So-and-so then switches to trying to contact Demmons via Instagram. Well, yay. Yeah, Joe Biden knows. All right. Can you even be a rapper without guns? No, you can't. I think it's in the bylaws. Booterberries all the way from Australia. Member for 7 months. By the way, Flux recommended Rudolph with Dominic and her vocal fry bros. Yes, we sorted that out. And people kept dropping in asking if this was the Melly case. Yeah, that's why it was confusing. And that's what we were saying. Yeah, it's like what the F is a Melly? You are absolutely right. Booterberries being the Big Lebowski, Jeff Lebowski's rug, has tied the room together for us. That's what it was. Flux told me I had to cover the Rudolph case because that was some batshit crazy witnesses. That was insanity from square one. Go back and check out the Rudolph trial. There's a whole playlist for it. That was some insane shit. That's what Flux started texting me in the middle of the night about, going, "Oh my God, this woman on the stand, Dominic." Yeah. And during that, everybody just YNW. I'm like, what the fuck is a Melly? And then we did some research. We found out there's a trial, and there were so many people asking what the fuck a Melly is. And there were so many more people saying, "Is this the Melly trial?" that we decided to follow the Melly trial because a lot of people were interested in it. And that's what we did. That's how we got here. All right. Phew, we've got that worked out. That's good. All right. I was just looking around to see if we had a good Lebowski thing. We don't really have a good Lebowski thing. We've just got this one here.
Yeah. Well, that's just like your opinion, man.
All right. Thank you, Booterberries, for that. We didn't give you your bells. All right, let's continue with our reading here. We're probably not going to get through this whole motion here because we're about halfway through it, and we're about halfway through the affidavits. So what we'll do is, depending on what you decide in chat, we're going to be doing. It still looks like we're going to be doing more evidence tampering stuff, so that actually works out quite well. We can finish up with the affidavits next week, and then continue on with the motion to allow the information regarding the witness tampering charges to be used in the criminal. It'll all come together. So, all right, Jamel Demons and Cortland Henry were each indicted for 2 counts of murder in the first degree on February 7th, 2019. Jamel Demons was then indicted on a superseding indictment on February 22nd, 2022 for murder in the first degree with the criminal gang enhancement. Mr. Demons has remained in the custody of Broward Sheriff's Office since February 13th, 2019. That is true. Dude has been in jail since 2019 without a conviction. By the time this is over, dude is going to be in jail for at least 5 years without a conviction. That is pretty insane when you think about it. Cortland Henry was granted bond. Somehow, this is what's confused me from day one. Bortlan, who is also charged with 2 counts of double murder, first degree murder, he was given bond. He was given bond by the judge on June 1st, 2020. And he posted that bond on June 26th, 2020. How someone gets bond on a double murder case without flipping or snitching is utterly beyond me. But he did not testify against Melly at the first trial, which indicates he didn't flip and he didn't snitch. God knows how that dude got out of prison. Dude is walking out of jail, out of custody, on 2 first-degree murder charges, but he manages to fuck it up. I mean, I would be the most amazing little angel you've ever seen in your entire life if I was charged with 2 counts of murder and they let me out on bond, but not him, not Bortlan. He posts bond on June 26, 2020, but he managed to violate the pre-trial conditions and was taken back into custody on April 14th, 2021. So he violates his bond conditions. He goes back, and then he's granted bond again on August 24th. I, honest to Christ, don't understand that. Dude's in the can for 2 counts of murder. They let him out on bond. He fucks up his bond provision, gets thrown back in again, and then gets bond again after being charged with 2 counts of murder and violating his previous bond. But there's no indication that he is snitching or flipping on Melly. This is weird to me, and there is no way I can... I want someone to sit down. I will never understand it unless he shows up on the stand. If he flips and shows up on the stand on the second trial, I'll get it. Or if somebody sits me down and explains to me how this is in any way possible. Those are the only 2 scenarios in which I'll understand how Bortlan gets out on bond, first of all, for 2 counts of murder, and then screws up his bond conditions, and then gets bonded out again. I don't get it. It's just this weird. I do not understand. But it happened. So I guess it doesn't matter whether I understand it or not. Mr. Henry has been court ordered to have no contact with any of the civilian witnesses, directly or indirectly. Mr. Henry, as per the June 1, 2020 order in case number whatever, is not allowed to have contact with Jamel Demons. Can't talk to civvies, can't talk to Melly. In the August 24th, 2021 order for subsequent release, no contact with Jamel was again included, with the only exception being if both counsel for Demons and Henry were present. Can't talk to Melly unless both their lawyers are together. Somebody else and the other person were listed as witnesses for the state of Florida. So that'd be the ex-girlfriend and ex-girlfriend's mom. Were listed as witnesses for the state of Florida in the initial discovery filing of April 9th, 2019. And pursuant to that request, their addresses were not listed, but instead the Office of the State Attorney agreed to accept service on their behalf Defense counsel for Devins and Henry coordinated the deposition of somebody to take place on 22. Let's see if there's anything we can glean with all of this heavily redacted stuff. At this point, they became uncooperative with the prosecution. Okay, so ex-girlfriend, ex-GF, and GF's mom become uncooperative with the prosecution. They're served by an investigator. The Honorable Andrew Siegel signed an order to show cause to both individuals, and then on February 23rd, 2020, signed a certificate to procure witnesses for the two. On November, I guess Mother was located in the U.S. Virgin Islands, where she had traveled under an assumed identity and had a driver's license in her possession that belonged to another individual. The certificate to procure her is still active, and so I think that's the ex-girlfriend, because the ex-girlfriend, she was the one that never showed up in court. And they did put out a warrant for her, and she said she's been trying to go in to get this thing removed, but every time she says she wants to go in and mention something or give a statement, they keep telling her she's going to be arrested on the bond. So we watched an interview with her a couple of weeks ago. So she's trying to get this warrant removed so that she can go in and tell them what she knows. But she's not going in until they remove it, because they keep saying they're going to throw her ass in jail. All right. Sounds like Strawberry has picked up a plastic bottle. All right. So there we go. Right. Excuse me for just 1 second. I'm going to have to be the bad daddy and take away this plastic bottle from Strawberry before she starts munching on it. Give me 20 seconds. Be right back. All right, I'm the bad guy here. I gotta take away the dog toy. Cheapest dog. Oh, yeah, that calmed her down, didn't it? That was a dumb thing to do. All right, justice for Strawberry. Okay. It scrolled up too fast. Dang it, there was a comment I wanted to read. Okay, so let's get back to this. Sorry about that little brief foray into stealing doggy toys. Sorry, Strawberry. How we doing? Okay, here we are. Let's see. Right. Okay, so she went off to the Virgin Islands, blah, blah, blah. Still active, and she's not been brought before the court. Somebody sent screenshots of an Instagram conversation to Detective Moretti showing that Cortland Henry, while he was out on bond the first time, had engaged in some communication with Ms. Ms. told Henry that if something or somebody told on Melly, he would be getting the death penalty, and that Melly hypothetically told her everything. Hypothetically told her everything. Ms. So-and-so continued on stating she didn't tell them people what he told her, or there would never be any getting out for him. But since y'all gunning gore her, and she's scared for her life. All right. On April 10th, 2023, the first trial of Jamel Devins commenced before the Honorable John Murphy. The trial resulted in a hung jury, and the case is scheduled for October 9th, 2023 to commence with jury selection. Okay, so this particular affidavit is talking about how Bortlan was released. He was told not to talk to anybody about this, not to talk to any civilians, not to talk to Melly. But he went and talked to Melly's girlfriend and possibly Melly's girlfriend's mother, and they were concerned that if they testified, he was concerned that if they testified, then Melly would get the death penalty or something like that. That's as best I can translate what that text message said. Well, that moves us on to another piece of the puzzle. Now they're talking to outside people. Detective Garrett Steele was assigned to this investigation regarding witness tampering in September of 2023. Detective Danny Polo, does that ring a bell to anybody? Does anybody recall who Detective Danny Polo is? Detective Danny Polo was another big figure in this trial. This is Detective Danny Polo. Yeah, that's Detective Danny Polo. He showed up in his ninja gear because he feared for his family. He's an undercover cop that feared for his family's safety. It's not Marco's brother. No, yeah, it is the gang cop. the masked marauder, the balaclava, that guy. Right. Mint's brother. So yeah, Detective Danny Polo became involved in the criminal case regarding Jamel Demons on February 2022 when contact to review documentation to determine whether or not Demons was a criminal gang member. Separately, Detective Polo had previously conducted an investigation into James Howard under BSO case number whatever. James Howard, he's one of the other guys here, is currently incarcerated at the Broward County Main Jail and has been in custody of the Broward Sheriff's Office since October 28th, 2020. James Howard is currently being prosecuted by the Office of Statewide Prosecutions for one count of conspiracy to commit racketeering. As part of the investigation, Detective Polo periodically monitors the jail calls of James Howard. Now we're starting to bring all these ingredients together. So this James Howard character, who hasn't been a part of this case up to this point, Polo, who testified against Melly in the first trial, is now monitoring James Howard's his telephone communications regarding another case. So, undercover Bob. So Danny Polo testified against Melly in the previous murder trial. Now he's eavesdropping on James Howard's telephone conversations in relation to a completely separate case involving James Howard. So he periodically monitors the jail calls from Howard. Each inmate is assigned a particular number and PIN code to access the recorded and monitored jail phone system. Jamel Demons does not have phone privileges due to disciplinary actions while in custody. He lost his phone privileges because he did something in the jail. Detective Polo, while monitoring the calls of James Howard, heard discussions about Howard communicating with Mr. Demons and passing messages. These phone conversations, so apparently Howard is talking on the phone about talking to Demons and passing Demons messages. These phone conversations then lead to Detective Polo requesting in August of 2023, Broward County Sheriff's Office Detention Communications Supervisor Kathleen Casey to provide any and all calls from James Howard for the previous 12 months, as well as all outgoing calls to the following phone numbers. All these phone numbers. And based upon a review, he calls the following information. Based upon a review of the calls, the following information was determined as to who was communicating on the various phone numbers. This phone number, known girlfriend of Jamel Demons. Prior to his phone privileges being suspended, there were hundreds of calls to this individual. M has corresponded with Demons via postcards and phone calls for the last few years. This number unknown to the individual on the phone at the time. This phone number facilitated a three-way call on behalf of Melly to this other number, which was determined to belong to Jameson Francois. Phone number for this other phone number is phone number for Travis, which was identified as actually belonging to Jameson Francois. The number is associated with his wife, Adria Scott. There's a bunch of, and then there's a Cortland Henry number. All right, so now we've got allegations that Melly, who has no phone privileges and is using a third party, Mr. Henry, to communicate with people outside of the jail. Not that kind of three-way kitty. Shame on you. All right. Just a second. It's sniff. All right, I'm back. I muted myself that time. All right, the next affidavit. Or I guess it's probably, or is it a continuation? I think it's a continuation. I'm not sure. Anyway, inmate Terrence Mathis, he's one of the ones that's been charged. He made more than 60 calls to Cortland Henry between March 2023 and August 2023. Mathis is currently awaiting trial on first-degree murder. Mathis has been in the Broward County Sheriff's Office custody since August 23rd, 2018. He's been in there even longer than Melly, like almost a year longer than Melly. Damn. Demmons has developed a sophisticated system to communicate with individuals outside of the Broward County Jail. Well, he's got a sophisticated system because they said so, including co-defendant Cortland Henry. Deputy David Alvarez of the Broward Sheriff's Office Main Jail reviewed the video from August 2023 and made the following observations. All right, that's weird. Something. I have my tablet on the kitchen table in my backpack, and something just triggered the voice response and said, "I'm sorry, I can't understand that. Please speak louder." That was kind of weird. So something triggered the voice activation system on my tablet computer that's in a completely different room inside of a backpack. That was odd. I have ghosts in my house, by the way, people. Just letting you know. Huh, exactly, Kitty. See, Kitty knows. Okay, that was weird. All right. There's another weird event. And it probably is the ghost. It just happens. Things like that happen all the time. Weird. All right, anyway, continue. What was revealed on the video from August 21st, 2023? The main jail camera, starting at 17:11 hours and ending at 17:30-40 hours. At 17:11:20, Demmons is speaking to an inmate from cell 5C2-10 that was in the day room for his timeout. During the conversation, you can notice Demmons motion towards the adjacent unit, which is unit 5C3. The inmate who he was speaking to then points towards the same unit to confirm what Demmons was referring to. 3 seconds later, Demmons tosses what appears to be a note letter under his assigned cell door 5C29. A few seconds later, the same inmate from 5C210 grabs what appears to be a note letter from the floor in front of the cell 5C29. And then the same inmate tosses what appears to be multiple notes under the door that leads to unit 5C3, day room. From the day room, okay, they're just passing messages back and forth. Demmons appears to be instructing the inmate from cell 5C210 to call for someone from the adjacent unit 5C3, and the inmate complies. 17:27:35, the same inmate from 5C210 picks up a note letter and is seen speaking to Demmons about it. Demmons instructing him to toss it back to the adjacent unit. Appears that was one of his notes that did not make it over to the adjacent unit. All right, they're passing messages back and forth. That happens. All right, so no biggie. Okay, so this is all just a big continuation of one ginormous affidavit. That answered my question here. So then at 17:27:10, notes and letters start to appear in camera view being sent from the adjacent day room. An inmate begins to gather the notes and letters by kicking them to the bottom landing of the unit. This is like going on for... God, this is going on for like 20 minutes. What the hell are the guards doing if they're not watching all this shit happening on camera? I mean, seriously, what are the guards doing if they're not watching this thing go on for like 30 minutes? And so an inmate can be seen trying to look under the door. Notes, letters appear in camera view, and an inmate retrieves it by kicking it down to the bottom landing. Both inmates who collected the notes or letters begin to approach who appears to be inmate Howard. So all this shit's going back and forth. All these letters are going back and forth for the longest time. Then they start to approach inmate Howard. James, Howard, James, or Howard, and hand them over to him. So they give Howard the message. Howard comes in camera, reading a letter, and walks towards the telephone to read the letter. He attempts to make a phone call. Pulls out notes and letters out of his left chest pocket. He's seen on the phone. He's seen on the phone a few minutes later, and then he ends the call. Holy crap. All of that was to say Melly passed a bunch of messages over. They came back. They did something. They got over to Howard. Howard looked at the message and made a phone call. Oh, no, you're not allowed to send notes to other people in other cell blocks and things like that. That is very, very much prohibited, but literally everybody does it. That everybody passes messages back and forth. They do that what's called phishing. They put it on strings and slide it under doors. They flush it down toilets. They just do all kinds of things. A review of James Howard's phone calls from the Sekaroo system shows that the two phone calls were made to Aaron Simone Barnett and Cortland Henry. On October 21st, 2023, there was a brief call to this number identified as Cortland Henry's number. Phone call was completed to somebody, the phone number for somebody. During the phone calls with Cortland Henry, he is asked to send money through Cash App and declines to do so. During the call with somebody else, Mathis says he is calling on behalf of her husband. And then he asks her to complete a three-way call to Travis and verifies the last four digits ending in 2997. Barrett then verifies that it was the 786 number that she was calling. Well, then on September 1st, 2023, Broward Sheriff's Office detention deputies searched the cell of Terrence Mathis. The following phone books were recovered. They also further demonstrate that individuals were using code words and false names to try to prevent law enforcement from uncovering the scheme. Yeah, they're trying to talk about stuff. They make up a little code to prevent the cops from knowing what they're talking about. Pretty much what everybody has ever done that has anything to do with law enforcement officers. So they do that. The books listed all these other things in context as old girl Melly. Well, all right, guys, if you have a friend named Melly who's in jail and you're carrying out illicit conversations with his girlfriend that he's not supposed to be doing because he doesn't have privileges. So if you're making these phone calls on behalf of him to Melly's girlfriend and you don't want the cops to know, and so you devise a code to prevent the officers from knowing that Melly is trying to talk to his girlfriend, let me just suggest, not as any sort of legal advice, but just as common intelligence, don't use the secret code word old girl Melly to refer to Melly's girlfriend. That's just a suggestion. If you don't want the cops to know that you're talking to Melly's girlfriend, don't make the secret code word old girl Melly. Brose Bort Melly peeps. Other names and numbers indicate they were three-way, and then the list: Jamel Demons Melly, track manager, G-Shine. Oh God, G-Shine was a big part of the thing. Oh no! Amazing disgrace. That was a disgraceful comment, but it was funny. Yeah, old girl Melly's not the greatest secret code name for Melly's girlfriend, is it? On April 19th, inmate Terrence Mathis places a phone call to Cortland Henry and begins to relay messages. After a few messages to individuals to thank them for showing up to support him in court, the following exchange occurs between Henry and Mathis. Tell you hi something, make sure she hood. Tell her keep vibing in the Maybach. Oh, wow, she's got a Maybach. Sweet. She got the Maybach. The Maybach. If you don't know what a Maybach is, it's a gigantic fucking Mercedes-Benz. It's like the top-end Mercedes-Benz you can buy. They're just ginormous. Wow. Tell her to keep vibing in the Maybach like she's doing. Don't pop out this shit almost over with. I heard she posed to be pulling up, probably capped though, but tell her. Henry. Man, no, man, tell him, man, shut the fuck up. Tell him to stop talking about that. Mathis. Tell her fall bike. I ain't put this wild ass shit. Fall bike. I seem to be losing control of the conversation here. Help. All right, whatevs. If you're all following along with this, you're much cooler than I am, because I ain't following along with this at all suddenly. Yeah. All right, whatevs. So anyway, tell her fall bike. I ain't put this wild ass shit fall bike. Man, I ain't talking no more about that. Move on to the next one. Hold on, I got to read the whole card. I don't know what's what. Tell her keep doing what she's doing. Tell her I love her and I miss her so much. I'm going to eat her like some ice cream when I touch down. Yo, girl, I'm going to eat you like some ice cream when I touch down. Oh, yeah.
I'm sorry, I don't understand.
Cuddy say can't hang.
Oh, stewardess, I speak jive.
Oh, good.
He said that he's in great pain and he wants to know if you can help him.
All right. Would you tell him to just relax and I'll be back as soon as I can with some medicine?
Just hang loose, blood. She's gonna catch up on the rebound on the med side.
Let me translate. Well, that by the way, for those of you who don't know, that like Leave It to Beaver, that was June Cleaver. That was the actress that played June Cleaver, like Beaver Cleaver's mom in Leave It to Beaver. That was, if you didn't understand what June Cleaver was telling those fine young African American men on the plane, she was saying, "I'm going to eat you like some ice cream when we touch down." That's what she was saying. Oh no. During this call, while Mathis is trying to give directions to Cortland Henry about keeping somebody away from court, Henry is obviously uncomfortable and does not want those directions being given over the recorded call. How the fuck do you get that message from? God dang, how do you get that from what we just read? Anyway, all right, I'll just take his word for it that that's what they're saying. Henry already knows his job of keeping her away from court, and there is no reason to continue to talk about it. Henry states, "Tell him something already vibing in the Maybach. I don't know where he be getting his information, but just tell him to vibe, though." Henry is telling Mathis to reassure Demmons that everything is under control in reference to keeping her away from court. Okay, all right, Officer Smarty Pants. If that's really what you think was being said, I'll take your word for it. How are we doing on time here, folks? Oh, we have hit the 2-hour mark, and we are still 10 pages from being done. So I think I think now might be a good time to pull the plug. Let me scroll down here and see if there's a better stopping point. No is the answer to that question. All right, let's read 2 more pages. Let's get down to the United Blood Nation background. Then we'll pull the plug here for the night. And then we'll pick it up next week. All right, folks. let's continue on, and just remember, I'm gonna eat you like some ice cream when we touch down. On Tuesday, April 18th, 2023, counsel for Demmons and Assistant State Attorney Christine Bradley, who is no longer associated with this case other than to be a witness for the defense, exchanged emails. So the Demmons lawyer and the previous prosecutor exchanged emails about the scheduling of so-and-so for deposition. Ms. was commonly called ma'am by the defendant. It's a thinly disguised reference to Ms. Meh. The deposition of Ms. Meh was supposed to take place on May 5, 2023, as evidenced by the May 1, 2023 filing by counsel for Mr. Demmons. The deposition did not take place as Ms. Meh did not appear. I'm assuming we're talking about his girlfriend. During the course of the conversation, Mr. Henry tells the in-custody messengers to slow down. And at times, because he ain't getting too many messages, slow down. Don't make me eat you like ice cream when I touch down. Slow down. And that's going to be the recurring theme, I think. We should make some merch with that. I'm going to eat you like ice cream. No, let's not make merch that says that. That would be wrong. Tells them to slow down, and at other times they have to repeat the messages, or they describe specific emoji characters and even spell certain words in a particular way. Wait, so they're putting emoji characters into these written messages? They're like handwriting messages, and they're putting emojis in them? All right. They even spell certain words in a particular way. On another occasion, on April 24th, 2023, Mr. Demmons again references so-and-so by calling her ASAP Rocky's baby mama. Popular recording artist somebody has been in a relationship with another recording artist known as ASAP Rocky. The conversation begins with a message directed to somebody, the defendant's mother. Yeah. Redact her name and then say the defendant's mother. Ooh, who are we talking about? We're talking about Ms. King, Melly's mother, I bet. Directed to somebody who we're only going to call the defendant's mother, to tell her not to cooperate with law enforcement. Okay, so now they're starting to get into the specifics here. The specifics of the attempts to tamper with the witness. Here they're alleging that the conversation begins with a message directed to Melly's mother to tell her not to cooperate with law enforcement in regards to some of the supposed threats that she reported to counsel for the defendant and the Honorable John Murphy. She was saying that the prosecution was threatening her with arrest and threatening Melly's girlfriend with arrest, threatening Melly's girlfriend's mama with arrest, threatening all these people with arrest if they didn't cooperate with the prosecution. So he's apparently telling her not to cooperate, not to respond to not to be swayed by these threats that the prosecution was making. That's how I'm reading this. Ms. Mom subsequently declined to participate in an investigation regarding the supposed threats that were made to her. The threat and subsequent lack of cooperation was discussed in open court on April 24th and again on April 25th, 2023. The conversation about Ms. Mom again mentioned her and told Mr. Henry to make sure ASAP Rocky's baby mama is in the Maybach and she stays that way. Ms. So-and-so did not appear at the trial for Mr. Demmons. Cortland Henry, who is out on bond, has been confined to his address in Miami-Dade County with the exception of being allowed to leave for a short period of time each week for religious services. The guy accused of double murder is getting to go to church. Well, good. That's where he should be. If he didn't do it, he should be in church. If he did do it, he really should be in church. During the conversations, Mr. Henry sends out the messages via electronic communication. At times, he makes comments such as he cannot type fast enough to keep up with the message that is being relayed. Detective Garrett, okay, so this is being done over a cell phone, I guess. Detective Garrett Steele obtained the GPS coordinates for Mr. Henry's ankle monitor for April 19th, 24th, 25th. During each of those days, Mr. Henry remained within his listed residence. He was staying home like a good boy, like he should have. The phone calls indicate that Henry is using an electronic means to communicate, such as another mobile device, tablet, or computer from within the apartment. Okay, good on you, Henry. Bortlan, if you will. On April 19th, 2023, at 17:19 hours and 20 seconds, inmate Terrence Mathis places a phone call to Cortland Henry and begins to relay messages. The following exchange occurs between Mr. Henry and Mr. Mathis. These conversations happen in pieces separated by other conversations. Ooh, so it's an edited conversation is what they're telling us. Okay, Riri, okay, his girlfriend is ASAP baby mama. All right, thanks. Thank you, Lat Call Girl 1. Thank you for clearing that up. Yeah, Rihanna is ASAP baby mama, so yeah, got it. All right, we're there. See, we need people less white, younger, and more street smart than me to piece these things together. I hate these redaction shit when we already know who they are. Why redact it and just confuse old white people? All right. So, yeah, the ASAP baby mama, that is his girlfriend, or now ex-girlfriend. So here's what they pieced together. Mathis. So what he wants you to do, Henry, when I ask him if I find out how many bottles it takes for sheet. Mathis, I got that part. I'm talking about his money ain't come. Money exchanged. Henry, just tell him it ain't come on the 15th like it's supposed to. Just waiting for it. I ain't get that far. Mathis, all right, that's it. At 1811, Henry, make sure you tell him those shit's $300 a pop, the bottles. All right, well now let's see if we can get a little bit of translation as to what is being said. The Wire is one of the greatest TV shows ever made in the history of television. All right. Based on Detective Steele and Detective Polo, Ninja Polo's experience working investigations involving the introduction of contraband into jails and prisons, this conversation was immediately identified as the subject's holy shit. Ask him to find out how many bottles it takes for shit. I got that part. Talking about money ain't come, $300 a pop. They instantly identified this as the subjects conspiring and planning how they would smuggle narcotics into the Broward County Jail. A common method of introducing narcotics in the jail or prisons is by sending paper that has been soaked or sprayed with narcotics that have a liquid form. Many of these drugs are substitute cathinone? Okay. Phenethylamines, synthetic cannabinoids, and sometimes opiates such as fentanyl. The Broward County Jail has had prior incidents of these narcotics-laced papers being introduced to jail in the form of books, letters, and legal mail. Oh, I'm pretty sure every jail on earth has had that same problem. On Friday, September 22nd, 2023, BSO gang detective Russell and detention deputy Alvarez conducted an interview of a gang member being housed at Broward County Jail. The subject stated that Jamel Demmons was controlling and facilitating the introduction and distribution of narcotics-laced paper into jail. We've got ourselves the snitch! It's Cheeseburger from the XXX Tentacion trial. I think this is our boy Snitchburger, Cheese Snitch, Cheeseburger the snitch from the Tentacion trial. I think we got him here. The subject also stated that in the last 2 months, he has personally purchased narcotics-laced paper from Jamel Demmons. The subject stated the only inmates on Demmons' floor currently have access to the narcotics. The subject stated that the narcotics-laced paper was being introduced into the jail in mail in the form of legal documents from attorneys. That's kind of ironic if they're spraying their lawyers' papers with drugs. I don't know if this is Cheeseburger the snitch, but it sounds like Cheeseburger the snitch because this is a snitch and they got one snitch and it's Cheeseburger. So I'm using my lawyer brain there to do a little deductive logic to use the Lebowski rug example we've been using all night. It just ties the room together. We're tying it together. I think we got our snitch, Cheeseburger. So apparently they're spraying their legal documents with drugs and sending them into into the jail. The subject also stated in the last 2 months he had personally purchased narcotics-laced paper from Jamel Demmons, stated that only inmates on Demmons' floor currently have access to the narcotics. The subject stated the narcotics-laced paper was being introduced in the jail in the form of legal documents from attorneys. And that takes us to the United Blood Nations background. Holy shit snacks. This is where we're going to end for the day. Holy crap. All right, we'll take it up with the background of the United Blood Nation next time. We've been going 2 hours and 12 minutes on this Melly update. They're slowly bringing it together within their realm of existence. So they start out by saying, okay, this is the murder, walking you through the murder scene. This is how they're lying. This is when they get arrested. Now that they're arrested, they're in jail. Melly can't communicate. They're passing notes back and forth. They're trying to get Melly to communicate with his girlfriend and his mother through this third party. And he's doing that in this convoluted way. They get there. They're also trying to smuggle drugs into the prison through this three-way conversation. And that kind of takes us up where we're going. And they're using all of this as part of the evidence of the witness tampering to bring these new charges against him. These documents are 1,000% easier to follow than the BS that was the prosecutor's case, says Angst Kitten. Yeah, they're still a little bit iffy and dodgy in some parts. But again, these are only the cop's side of the story. Melly is still entitled to his defense. And again, these charges are completely separate, completely unrelated to the murder. Well, I mean, they're not part of the murder trial. Yet. They are separate charges. They're being handled separately. It's not the two murder charges plus these in the same trial. Separate trials, separate incidents, separate charges. But what we'll talk about next time, according to you guys, is we'll finish up these affidavits and then we'll talk about the fact that the prosecutor, these charges they've not been convicted on these charges yet. He's only been charged with witness tampering and the other charges that are associated with it. He's only been charged with, nothing has been proven against him. But although he's only been charged and nothing has been proved against him, the prosecutor wants to introduce the fact that he's been charged with these crimes, not convicted. He's been charged. He's been alleged to have done these things. She wants to introduce those allegations into the murder trial as evidence to show that he committed the murders and this is his guilty mind. So he has a guilty mind because he's allegedly tried to tamper with the witness in the first trial. And the only reason he would tamper with the witness in the first trial is because he's guilty and he doesn't want them to testify against him. So again, she wants to introduce these charges of witness tampering in the murder trial to show that he had a guilty mind and was trying to hide the fact that he committed the murders by tampering with witnesses. And we'll read that motion next time, because we've got our like and subscribe poll here. We got 380 concurrent viewers, 429 likes. Thank you so much, peeps, for that. The poll today: have you liked and subscribed? Again, make sure you have subscribed. If you haven't, please give me that benefit of the doubt. Subscribe down here. We're going to be following Melly through the end. We're going to be doing more Maya Kowalski stuff. We got the Murdoch stuff going. We're doing some OJ retro on Thursday. We're going to be going strong. We're going to be going hard. We're going to be going fast. And Christmas is coming up. All kinds of fun stuff. We're going to be following the Sarah Boone case if and when that ever happens, because apparently that's been bumped. Follow us. Take a chance on me. Take a chance on ABBA. Bella Stella has gifted 10 Legal Vices memberships. Thank you so much for that, Bella Stella. Everybody give Bella Stella a super thanks if you were one of those 10 people that got one of those gifted Legal Vices memberships. MG Law, that's far more prejudicial than probative and shouldn't be admissible. I agree. They wrote a 27-page motion about it that we'll discuss next time. I absolutely, it's if he had been convicted of witness tampering, it would be a completely different argument in my mind. But they just threw some shit on a piece of paper, threw some allegations down. I mean, it's nowhere even near going to trial. But they already want to use that as evidence that he had a guilty mind. So we'll talk about that next time. But anyway, as I was saying, hit that like button. Just smash the shit out of that like button. And then subscribe if you haven't done so. And if you have subscribed, just double check. Just glance down there and double check and make sure you're still subscribed. Because we've been doing well these past. And I want to keep this forward momentum going. We've been doing great with subscriptions the past few days. I want my $100,000 plaque. My 100,000 follower subscriber plaque right there behind me on the wall. We're so far away from that, it's ridiculous to even talk about it, but that's the ultimate goal. And hit that like and subscribe button, take our poll. We're going to wrap this poll up here in about 20 seconds. So make sure you take the poll while you still have a chance to influence what happens next time. 9% of you said you want to rewatch the opening statements. Clearly, nobody wants to rewatch the opening statements. Only 14% of you also clearly, nobody wants to review the original arrest document against Melly. Slightly more of you, so we might do this 2 episodes down the road, want to watch the Raven Liberty arrest video. Yes, YNW Melly's lawyer, the gigantic chick that some people seem to think has the big old bootay on her. She has been she was arrested for domestic violence charge, I believe. It was never prosecuted. It was dropped, but there is some good body cam footage of that arrest. 28% of you said you want to watch that. The vast majority, a full 49%, just shy of 50%, just shy of half of you want more evidence tampering stuff. So as I said, we'll talk about the motion to introduce the allegations of witness tampering into the murder trial. Next time we do this, probably 1 week from today. Yes, wrap up your poll. Safety first. Absolutely. And we're going to wrap that rascal right now. So let it be written. So let it be done. It is now official. That's what we're doing next week. It says Porcelain Thunder. Android polls are broken. Yes. I had to completely restart my YouTube app on my phone to get them to work earlier today. All right, folks. So totally not a Russian bot says some streamers have a very peculiar subs to viewers ratio. Not naming names, but for example, EDB. Why is there an eggplant after EDB's name? What? Why? And I have no idea what her sub to viewer ratio is. I know what mine is. Mine is not too shabby. It's a little on the low end, but hey, I don't care. My My percentage of videos watched is way high. My percentage of interaction is way high because you guys, the Vice Squad chat, are the greatest chat ever. My like ratio, my like to viewer ratio is off the damn hook. It's so high because of all of you awesome people. And as we wrap this up, I definitely want to give a super special thanks to mods. Stay tuned in the next couple of weeks. Right around Christmas, we're going to be doing our annual Very Moddy Christmas, where any of the mods that want to come on and hang and reveal themselves to you will happen. We'll be doing a members-only stream here in a while, a chill members-only stream. So, mods, thank you so much for being here, doing what you guys do. Love all of you to death. For hanging with me, being real, being loyal, taking care of business, and for you, the viewer, the member of the Vice Squad. If you've been here for more than 15 seconds, you're an official member of the Vice Squad. You are the greatest chat on the entire internet. Hands down, I love you guys. You love to walk the line, very seldom cross the line. That's what makes you special. That's what makes you awesome. And thank you so much for the support through super chats, the monthly member chats, the gifts, everything. That's all just, I mean, I appreciate everything I get. I honestly never take anything for granted. Thank you so much, everybody. We will see you tomorrow for the reading of the state's, I'm sorry, let's try that all again. We'll see you tomorrow for the reading of the prosecution. Damn it. God dang it. It starts with a P. I'm getting hung up on P words. It's all about the P. It's all about the P.
Phrasing.
All right. Third time is the charm. Join me tomorrow as we will read the response by the plaintiffs for the Maya Kowalski side of things in the Maya Kowalski trial, their response to the defendant, to the Johns Hopkins All Children's Hospital motion to set aside the verdict and have a new trial based on juror number 1's misconduct. We'll talk about the plaintiff's response tomorrow. Thursday will be O.J. Simpson closing arguments retrospective with co-host Behandler, can't call her Chandler tonight, just Behandler Remington. And then Friday will probably be some Murdoch stuff. Take care, everybody. Until tomorrow, whoever you are, whatever you're doing, whoever you're doing it with, and however good it feels, you keep on doing it, but just make sure you're enjoying your legal vices.